Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. We apologize for the slight delay in start. We had a few glitches. We have worked everything out. Raka Sudhakar ji is ready and he is joining us now. Raka ji, Namaskar. How are you, sir? Ram Ram.
I'm doing very fine, sir. Namaskar.
So, Raka Garu, the story has been very interesting in that, as soon as Jagan Mohan Reddy lost, they said that he was going to be jailed. And well, it's too soon to do that. But the interesting twist in the story is that for the speaker election, Jagan Mohan Reddy's party, YSRCP, they said that they would support the NDA. That's why the title, adversaries at state, allies in the center. Now, for our viewers, they may not know that Jagan Mohan Reddy was actually jailed for several years by the Congress government. Maybe you can just take us back to that era, what really happened. And see, that is the big problem, in the sense that that's a big thing for which he has been jailed. Now, there may be some other things that might crop up in the last 5 years, because we are seeing that he has actually flattened some forest area to build some mansions, which is horrifying when you see that. How come they did not even show up even one day before? I don't know, maybe it is there in vernacular but not in English. To kind of talk to us this whole background about Jagan Mohan Reddy, sir.
So Jagan Mohan Reddy is a very interesting politician, sir. He is one politician who has named his party after his father, YSR. It is Yuvajana Shramika Raitu. The acronym is Yuvajana Shramika Raitu, but the letters actually conform to YSR, which is YS Rajshekhar Reddy. But then he is one politician who has not tried to use his father's legacy. That's one thing. But during his father's tenure, Jagan Mohan Reddy is alleged to have made money or made investors invest into his organizations, power company by name Sandur Power Company, and also the Indira Television and the other Sakshi Media, all these organizations, and they were allegedly benefited by the government awarding contracts to them. This has been the allegation, but he has been arrested on charges of entering into a quid pro quo kind of arrangement. He was put behind the bars for 18 months soon after YSR's demise. That is 2010 or so, 10 to 11 or so. He was put behind the bars for 18 months, and mind you, there is a degree of difference. He has been an under trial. He was arrested because people suspected, the authorities and the government or the investigating agencies suspected that he would tamper with the evidence or influence the witnesses. So he has not been convicted that way, one. And secondly, the case is still on, and Jagan has already served 18 months in prison. So I don't foresee any immediate possibility of Jagan getting imprisoned again. This is though the TDP or the anti-Jagan sources say that Jagan would be jailed, Jagan could be jailed, or he could be imprisoned, but then I don't see the possibility of that happening anytime soon, because he has already served his period and the case is under progress, and every Friday he attends the cases. Even while he was in the opposition and he was conducting his yatra, he would break his yatra on Thursday night, depart for Hyderabad to attend the CBI court, and then immediately return and recommence his yatra every week. This he has done as long as he was in the opposition. After he became a chief minister, he obtained some kind of permission from the CBI court to allow his lawyers to represent him in the court. So the case is still going on, and there is nothing new happening over there to warrant his arrest again. So all this talk of Jagan getting arrested again appears a remote possibility, firstly. And there's only one hitch, one problem area for YS Jagan Mohan Reddy. That is, if a case of money laundering is proved against him, he could be jailed. He could be imprisoned. As of now, there is the money laundering case has not reached that fruition stages. So we can safely surmise that despite all the brouhaha, he may not still be arrested, and it is not easy to arrest Jagan Mohan Reddy so soon, unless there is a fresh charge, that he has occupied the government lands and he has constructed party houses illegally on government lands. If new cases can be foisted, then alone he can be arrested, not on the already existing cases. This is the truth about 𝗏𝗏𝗏 Jagan Mohan Reddy, sir. And secondly, about the constructions that he had um, uh, taken up on a large scale, the hill Rishikonda, which is its name indicates that it is an abode of rishis. Rishikonda in Telugu is hill, and Rishikonda means a konda where, or a hill where rishis reside. So that he had literally cleaned up, destroyed the ecosystem, destroyed the whole forest on the Rishikonda, and constructed a palatial building which is worth around 500 crores and which was to function as his office in the event of his getting re-elected and becoming a chief minister. But that did not happen. So the Rishikonda palace has already been constructed. So what I foresee is that the Telugu Desam would not be demolishing, despite all the comments that he has destroyed ecosystem, he had destroyed the whole forest system that and the holy Rishikonda and all that. The Telugu Desam may still like to use that palatial building, a very impressive building, constructed at a cost of 500 crore. I do not foresee the possibility of Telugu Desam demolishing the same house, despite criticizing 𝗏𝗏𝗏 Jagan. They may still use the building. So the building has already been constructed, but what we are seeing is that lot of YSRCP offices which have been constructed on government lands, they are now being demolished. Notices are being served, and some have already been razed to the ground, and many more are likely to be razed to the ground in the coming few days, maybe in the coming 2 or 3 months, because that is the honeymoon period that Chandrababu Naidu enjoys, and he has to immediately raise those buildings if he has to break the morale of the YSRCP.
Raka Garu, today, where do things stand? Which is the capital city? Is it Vijayawada? Is it Amravati? Is it Vizag? Is it Kurnool? Which one, sir?
Sir, Amravati is the capital of Andhra Pradesh, because during the YSR regime, they wanted funds for the capital construction. They applied to they actually requested the central government to fund the construction of the capital. The central government has specifically sent funds to Amaravati only. Officially, Vizag and Kurnool have not been designated as the capitals. They have only been making statements that there is no formal announcement that Vizag would be the capital. Look at the wordage that YS Jagan Mohan Reddy used. He always said that I will function from Vizag after getting re-elected as the chief minister. I would function from Vizag, he said. He never said that Vizag would be made the capital. Initially, there was some statement that Vizag would be the capital of the state, the Amaravati would be the legislative capital, and Kurnool would be the judicial capital of the state, but none have happened. The High Court is still close to Amaravati, and the legislature is also in Amaravati, and Jagan has been very careful with his words. He has always been maintaining that he would function in the event of becoming a chief minister again from Vizag. This palatial building that we were talking about is meant for his office. So the capital technically is Amravati. There are some offices in Vijayawada of the state level offices of some departments still function from Vijayawada, but for all practical purposes, Amravati is the capital because the center has specifically told the 𝗣𝗚𝘂𝘃 government while it was in power that Amravati alone would be the capital and it would not apportion the grant into 3 capitals. So on the face of it, Amravati is still the capital. There are buildings there and the secretariat functions there. Even during YS Jagan Mohan Reddy's regime, the capital was in Amravati. What we need to understand is Jagan tried to, soon after coming to power in 2019, Jagan wanted to destroy the financial infrastructure of the TDP. His plan was to destroy the financial infrastructure of the Telugudesam party. There are 3 areas where the Telugudesam financial muscle lay. One was in the real estate. The Telugudesam leaders have purchased huge swathes of land in and around Amravati and the whole capital area. Around the capital area, it is 𝗣𝗚𝘂𝘃, it is the TDP people who have purchased the land. So Jagan wanted to demolish that financial muscle which came from the real estate. The second thing he wanted to destroy was to change the sand mining, sand quarrying policy, because sand quarrying was considered one of the biggest sources of income for the TDP leaders at the second rung and third rung TDP leaders. So he changed the sand policy to ensure that the TDP has been precluded from the whole process and the 𝗣𝗚𝘂𝘃 people will take over. The third important source of financial muscle of the Telugudesam was the liquor. So he changed the liquor policy and he had brought in several new brands which were poor in quality but high in cost, and he brought them and he made their sale compulsory. So in the process, he wanted to destroy the financial muscle of the Telugudesam party. Of course, he has miserably failed on all 3 counts. The Telugudesam has kept its financial ecosystem and financial structure intact through various methods. So this whole Amaravati business should be seen. The whole controversy around Amaravati should be seen as Jagan's attempt to destroy the ecosystem. So if we have to look at Andhra Pradesh politics today, they are the exact replica of what is happening in Tamil Nadu. In Tamil Nadu, Jayalalitha would construct a huge building and call it secretariat, and the moment Karunanidhi comes to power, he would demolish or use it as a hospital and then construct a new, go back to the old secretariat. And the moment Jayalalitha comes back, this building will again function as the secretariat. This will keep happening in Andhra Pradesh as long as these 2 parties, the pendulum, the power of political pendulum, the pendulum of political power swings between these 2 extremes, the TDP and 𝗣𝗚𝘂𝘃. And if this keeps happening, then again when Jagan comes back, the Rishikonda building would get some prominence. So this kind of thing is going to happen. So I have always been maintaining that politically, Andhra Pradesh is going the Kerala way, where a lot of castes, subcastes, and caste equations are going to play a key role. And power-wise, we are emulating the very bad example of Tamil Nadu, where one regional party ranged against the other regional party would undo whatever. The first 2 or 3 years is meant only to undo what the previous regime has done. I think Chandrababu regime and Jagan regime are going to do the same thing.
Sir, if I understand it correctly, then there is no more remnants left in Hyderabad of the current Andhra Pradesh state. Everything has moved out of secretariat. Like, for example, you know that secretariat building near Tank Bund, sir? Right at the beginning, you have that secretariat building. Yes. There was a division, right? This side, that sort of stuff was happening. So all that, everybody has moved out from there to Amravati now?
Yes, sir. Because the arrangement under the Andhra Pradesh State Reorganization Bill is that Hyderabad would function as the capital of Andhra Pradesh state for a period of 10 years. the 10 years is over. So till recently, there were some remnants. The Skill Development Corporation of the Chandrababu government functioned from this place, and there were some rooms and chambers that were locked in the name of Andhra Pradesh government. Though the government has effectively shifted to Amravati during Chandrababu's rule, the 2014-2019 regime, because of what is now famously known as the cash for vote scam. During 2014 to 19, Chandrababu wanted to buy votes for his candidate in the MLC elections in Telangana. So Revant Reddy, the present chief minister, who was then the working president of the TDP, he went with wads of money tucked in a suitcase and met an Anglo-Indian nominated MLA, I believe. He is Mr. Stephenson, and tried to bribe him. And Stephenson promptly informed KCR, who was the chief minister at that point in time. So there was a possibility of Chandrababu being implicated because the audio, Revant Reddy made Chandrababu Naidu talked to Stephenson over phone call, and Chandrababu's voice sample matched with the audio. So there was a possibility of Chandrababu getting implicated. So he moved lock, stock and barrel to Amravati. In fact, Vijayawada at that time, because Amravati was not constructed, all these offices were crammed in small buildings where a taluk office used to be there. The irrigation office was crammed there. So Chandrababu literally left the Hyderabad, the AP portion of the secretariat in the first regime itself, but there were some remnants, some officers still functioning there, and they have been now moved lock, stock and barrel. And the Andhra Pradesh government also Telangana government has also asked the Andhra Pradesh government to move their assets. So the old secretariat, by the way, doesn't exist. A new secretariat, a palatial, swank-looking, wonderful secretariat has been constructed by KCR, complete with 2 mosques and 1 temple. That's the kind of importance he has given for the
2 mosques and 1 temple.
1 temple, and this being the case, and complete with all those things. There was a temple before, so the temple has been reconstructed, and I'm told 2 mosques have been built. This whole new building has come. So the Andhra Pradesh, even otherwise, did not have places or spaces to actually operate from. Now the period is also over. So there is no trace of Andhra Pradesh government in Telangana anymore.
Raka Garu, just for our understanding for our viewers, see, I grew up in this area, so I have some memory of this thing. I grew up in a place called Nagarjun Sagar, Macherla. That's 90 kilometers from Guntur. So Vijayawada is one side of Krishna. You cross the barrage, Krishna, and then come to this side. One path will go to Guntur, the other one will go to Gudur and Chennai and so on. So in this, where does Amaravati come in? How far is Amaravati from Guntur and how far is it from Vijayawada?
Well, Amaravati is actually, you should visualize a triangle, sir. Vijayawada is on the northern bank of Krishna River. Guntur is on the other bank, southern bank.
Yeah.
But then it is equidistant. Amaravati is located on the southern bank of Krishna River, a very alluvial, very fertile land. In 29 villages has been taken for the construction of Amaravati, and Amaravati is equidistant from Guntur as well as Vijayawada. It is like a triangle. Amaravati is here, Vijayawada is here, Guntur is here. So almost equidistant. Maybe the difference could be in some miles. So the biggest problem is, despite Amaravati becoming the capital, there is no real estate boom in Guntur city, because most of the offices are operating from Amaravati and its vicinities. And Mangalagiri, for some purposes, Mangalagiri, there are some estates, some flats being constructed, and some flats being constructed on the river embankment, close to the river embankment, which is a clear violation of the river ecosystem rules that the government had formulated. But then the buildings have been there for quite some time. There have been some buildings much before the regulations have come. So the development is essentially in that area. Vijayawada, if you must have surely visited Vijayawada. Vijayawada has no scope for development, sir. It is a city which is bordered by Krishna River, so there is no scope of extending towards the south. Towards the north, there is a range of there is a hill range which actually limits its development. And if you have visited Vijayawada, you would have noticed that the houses have been constructed on the steep slopes of the hillocks, particularly in the old city and Gunadala area. And the only way Vijayawada can expand is towards the Gollapudi and Ibrahimpatnam area, towards the west, and towards the Gannavaram and beyond in the east, and of course towards the Kanuru and Kanuru and other areas that are there. Not Penuganchipuru, Kanuru and other areas on the eastern side. So Vijayawada, even within the city, there is no scope for road widening or anything of that sort, because there are three canals from the Krishna River: the Raivas Canal, the Yeluru Canal, and the Bandar Canal. The three canals that take water from Prakasham Barrage to the farmlands in the Krishna Delta, as well as up to Yeluru, which is now which is now another district. I think Yeluru is now in the new configuration. It's a district in itself. I do not exactly remember. So the scope for expansion in Vijayawada is quite limited, sir. It's already bursting at its seams, and the only way it can expand is go beyond Gollapudi and Ibrahimpatnam on the east, on the west, and towards Gannavaram and others. Of course, there is one more area that can grow. That is the Nunna, Agiripalli, and Nujvid region, but that's beyond Vijayawada.
Two things that were pet projects of Chandrababu Naidu in his first term. One was Polavaram, and the other was to have a build, own, operate, transfer model of building a latest amenities, world-class airport. I think he was trying to attract Singapore airlines to come and do it, or Singapore country, some Singapore government, something like that. So these two, I would ask you to talk about them. But before that, viewers, if you go to this area, there are some fantastic temples. The Kanakadurga temple in Vijayawada. There is a big temple in Amaravati where the Shiva Lingam used to keep growing. It was growing and growing and growing and growing, and the temple wasn't keeping up. And Shankaracharya Chandrasekhara Saraswati was told about this problem. I think it was in 1940s or 50s. Then he said, just give me a nail, and he hit a nail at the head, and then the lingam stopped growing. It's what, 20 feet, sir? 15 feet, 20 feet? How tall is it?
It's quite tall, sir. I think it's around Amravati is also quite tall. I do not exactly know the height of the Shivalingam there, but it keeps growing. Not just Amravati, sir. All the 5 Arama temples, one in Samarkot, the other one in the Draksharamam in both in the erstwhile East Godavari, Palakollu and Bhimavaram in the erstwhile West Godavari, and the Amaravati. They form the Pancharamas.
Well, sorry, sir, please finish. I have one more thing to add to that.
Yeah.
See, I belong to this area, so I grew up around these temples. They're fantastic temples. By the way, viewers, there is a Narasimha temple in Mangalagiri.
Yes.
It's called Panaka Narasimha temple. What it is into the Narasimha you give Panakam. Panakam is good water mixed in water. Now, the beauty about this deity,
Narasimha
Swami Murti, is you take a full bucket of good water and you pour it down the throat. It will only drink half of it. You take a small cup 4, only it will take half of it. How this happens, nobody can explain. Sir Raka Garu, you are better historian than I am. Maybe you can explain this thing. It is just mind blowing.
Yeah, Vijayawada and its surroundings are home to some great temples. For instance, if you start from the beginning of Krishna district, there is the Vedadri temple, which is Lakshmi Narsimha temple, a wonderful temple on the banks of on the northern bank of Krishna. It is a worth seeing spot. Uh, it's a beautiful temple. And the second thing is, of course, Vijayawada, we all know, and Vijayawada Kanakadurga temple. And in the same, on the same Indra-Kiladri temple, there is a Subramanya temple. On the same hillock, there is a Subramanya temple, and the Subramanya temple, the beauty of this Subramanya temple is that Kanchi Paramacharya, Chandrasekhara Saraswati Swamigal, visited this spot and said that there is a Subramanya waiting here. So the people broke that part of the hillock and they found the deity ensconced there. So you have to climb some about 300 or 400 steps, and you would find a Subramanya temple on the foothills of this, and it's a very famous temple. And then you have other Narsimha temples around the Indra-Kiladri. Also, you have a famous Shobana Chalapati temple in the Agiripalli area, which is worth visiting. In all these places, in Mangalagiri, in Agiripalli and other areas, there is a temple downhill and there is a temple on top of the holy hill. So the pujaris climb up all those stairs and offer puja there, and then they come back. Only after puja is performed on the temple at the top of the hillock, the other rituals happen downhill. So Panakala Swami, of course, is a great temple. Panakala Swami, as you said, is a Narasimha temple. There is one very impressive and imposing temple, downhill, and one on the upstairs. It is actually a cave temple, like the Yadagiri Narasimha Swami temple, and where, as you rightly said, you offer panakam to him, and he would only take a portion of it, and the rest of it will spill over. Actually, if it is a glass, only half is taken. If it is a bucket, only half is taken. The remainder is actually thrown out. It doesn't take the panakam anymore. So the panakam is the prasadam there. So same way you have lot of in Macharla, of course, you have Chennakeshava temples.
Yes.
Some of the finest architecture you can see in those areas. Of course, in the Guntur area also you have the Chilakaluripeta, Kshamintali. Sorry, this Kotappa Konda is a very famous temple. Of course, you have Ponnur temple, which is quite old, around 300, 400 years old, Ponnuru temple, and imposing new temples have been constructed in both Krishna and Guntur district. For instance, if anyone from other states is visiting Vijayawada, I advise them or suggest that they should visit the Hanuman temple in Paritala. This is about 130 feet tall Hanuman, which is visible from almost a kilometer or so. And in night, it gives you a very eerie feeling with lighting and all that. Continuous Hanuman Chalisa and other pujas are performed there for the last several years. And this Paritala Hanuman is a must visit. And there is no way you can miss this temple when you travel from Hyderabad to Vijayawada. And similarly, there is a beautiful temple of Hanuman in Ponnur area. It's carved out of one shila and one stone, granite stone, and a very beautiful temple. So there are a lot of temples like that. It was a seat of Buddhism for some time, and so you would
Nagarjuna
find a
Konda,
lot of
yeah.
Buddhist relics. Nagarjuna Konda, of course, you have Mogalrajapuram caves in Vijayawada, in the heart of Vijayawada, and then there are other, Ghantasala, Bhattiprolu, and all these places where Buddhist remnants are there. Jaggayapeta area also, there are some Buddhist remnants and relics. So that way you can find both Buddhism and relics of both the Buddhism as well as temples of Hinduism surviving together in this area. along the coast, you would find a lot of Buddhist structures, starting from Bojanakonda in Vizag down to Vijayawada and beyond.
Now, let's get back to the most important topic that I wanted to touch upon today, which is Polavaram. Do you see what happened? If I remember correctly, first it was supposed to be at one place. Then they said that no, if you want to get the water go all the way up to Penna, you need to go further up so that the gravity can push the water down. So it went up the stream in Godavari. Where do things stand now? There was some controversy also about the funding initially. What's the status now?
So basically, Polavaram is a project. It is an interstate project. Basically, it involves Odisha and Chhattisgarh also, because the waters that actually fill the area in and around Polavaram are from Shabari, Sileru. I'm sorry, there was a call. The waters that actually fill the Polavaram area, they come from Shabari, Sileru, and all other rivers and rivulets that emanate from both Odisha as well as Chhattisgarh. So, the envisaged height of the Polavaram project, the proposed height of Polavaram project is such that it would submerge parts of Odisha and parts of Chhattisgarh. So this has been the Chhattisgarh. So both the states, particularly Odisha, has been objecting to this, and though the state governments of Andhra Pradesh have repeatedly said that they would bear the expenditure of R&R, relief and rehabilitation of the displaced people, those governments, for obvious reasons, they do not find any benefit from this river. No water they would get from this Polavaram. There's no chance of getting it. So the first biggest hindrance for Polavaram is to convince Odisha as well as Chhattisgarh. One way to do it is to reduce the height of the dam. If that happens, the very purpose of Polavaram would be defeated.
Right.
So that's the catch. So you would find that Polavaram is perhaps the only project in the world where the canal system has been constructed first and the dam is still under construction. The canal system of Polavaram during Chandrababu's regime, 1999 to 2004, he started two lift irrigation projects. One is known as Pushkara lift irrigation project, which takes the Godavari water from slightly after Polavaram and it takes up to Tuni, Vizag and other areas to feed the industrial areas of Vizag, so on and so forth. Same way, downhill there is another lift irrigation project which is called 𝗤𝘃𝑝udi lift irrigation project. The 𝗤𝘃𝑝udi lift irrigation project is actually, it feeds the Krishna river near Pulichintala or some other meeting point. So these canals were constructed by Chandrababu Naidu, and when YSR came, YSR took the same project and he converted the canal system of the Pushkara lift irrigation and the 𝗤𝘃𝑝udi lift irrigation and called them the canal system of Polavaram. But the Polavaram remains to be completed because the biggest problem is the height issue has not been solved. And when Chandrababu came to power in 2014, the central government has declared this as a national project and was ready to construct it. Chandrababu Naidu took upon the responsibility of constructing it. And the state government took the responsibility. The center was to fund, but the central funding was based on the amount of work completed. Only when the phase 1 is completed, the phase 2 funding would be released. So this was where the whole problem came. The construction quality was in question, and the company that has been engineering firm that has been awarded the contract had run into a lot of problems, and there are cases pending against them. I think the name of the company is Transtroy, if I remember correctly. and Chandrababu wanted to change the contractor midway. The center did not allow, and now after Jagan came to power, he changed the contractor, but then the project could not make much headway. So Polavaram perhaps would be the only project where the canal system is complete, but the actual project has not been completed, and unless the interstate issues are solved and the height is maintained, the Polavaram would be infructuous. As of now, the Polavaram is, to me, it appears as an attempt to transfer Godavari waters into Krishna River near the Pulichintala area. So 85 TMC is supposed to be shifted to Krishna River. It's a very interesting project where water is being now shifted to Krishna River, because the Krishna River's delta system has been affected by the Karnataka constructing Almaty and Narayanpur dams. So because of the Almaty and Narayanpur dams, the whole farming cycle has been affected by has been delayed by 1 month. And the water in Srisailam is meant for electricity generation of power. So the biggest problem is to stabilize the delta of Krishna River beyond Nagarjuna Sagar and others. So water will now be transferred from Godavari to Krishna, so that Krishna is stabilized. And of course, the Godavari delta, you have Ďavళેશ્વરમ barrage, which is already serving it quite effectively and efficiently. So this Polavaram project's main aim is to stabilize. Of course, many people would not agree with what I am saying, but the main purpose is to transfer 85 TMC to Krishna River and then irrigate the nearby areas through the canal system that has already been built in the 1999, 2014, 2004 period, during Vajpayee's period, by Chandrababu Naidu. The Pushkar and Tadipudi are now part of the Polavaram canal system. This needs to be understood. So the Polavaram is a complicated project. In fact, while I was serving as a reporter in Rajamundry, I asked the chief engineer at that point in time, "Sir, do you ever hope that Polavaram would be completed?" He said, "If you do not quote me, I will tell you the truth." He said, "Polavaram can never be completed," he said. Of course, from what I am seeing, the project which began during Chandrababu's time as Tadipudi and Pushkara, then by YSR came to power in 2004. It's almost 10 or 15 years. There is no headway in the project. So Polavaram is a. I only hope the central government steps in, makes suitable changes to the project, and then completes it. It is a very essential project, no doubt, but then there are a lot of hitches and glitches in this project, sir.
The second thing was about the international airport that was planned by Chandrababu Naidu. So today, I guess it's all Vijayawada. You have to fly in and out of Vijayawada airport, which is a very modest airport. Gannavaram,
yeah. But Gannavaram is now expanding, sir. Some international flights, some flights from across the country are landing there. It has now become an active airport, and I think expansion is. I do not exactly know the details, but expansion has already been planned, and some works have been put in place, and I think this project can emerge into a major airport in the coming days. Because if you visit places like Dehradun or even Raipur or even Ranchi, they are very small airports. So compared to them, I think Gannavaram is a better placed, and Gannavaram, I hope some development would take place with the help of the central government, the Civil Aviation Department of the central government. Land acquisition has been taken up. If the information that I have got is right, some land acquisition has also taken place for the expansion of the runway, and then provision of other facilities. So I think Gannavaram Airport would become an international airport, would I think already some flights are, more flights are landing compared to earlier.
Thank you so much, Raka Garu. Let's take a few questions from our viewers, sir. Rohit Akshay wants to know, Jai Shri Ram, Raka Garu, shouldn't it be jiska saath uska vikas now on? Revant Reddy మూడు రంగుల జెండా పట్టి ఇటుపక్కకి కదలతలేడు. Do you see the same fate or even worse than Karnataka?
Sir, there are two aspects. One is jiska saath uska vikas. No government in the world can say jiska saath uska vikas. No government in the world. One may not like it, but no government in the world would say that we will have a skewed approach when it comes to delivering welfare schemes. The government has to be secular. There is no way that the government can be communal. Government has to be secular. It is another thing that some people who take benefits, they may not vote for the party. That's a different thing. Because vote is a right. So my personal take on this is that sabka saath, sabka vikas should be the motto of all governments. All governments should have sabka saath, sabka vikas, sabka vishwas, and sabka vikas as their motto. And I don't see anything wrong in the motto. Political party BJP knows very well that Muslims do not vote for it, and it has accounted for it, has taken that, factored that into its electoral calculations already, and it knows. For example, the Muslims did not vote for BJP in 2014 nor in 2019. Even before the Babri issue also, the Muslims never voted for Jansangh or BJP. So what we need to understand is government has to talk and implement in letter and spirit sabka saath, sabka vikas. No government can say that only vikas for only those who have voted for me. If anyone does it, it is a wrong kind of government, and that should be opposed tooth and nail, and that's undemocratic for me. Imagine American government having a different policy for Indian immigrants and for the Hispanics. Would you allow that? So sabka saath, sabka vikas is right. The second part is Revant Reddy. Revant Reddy is the kind of assurances they have given are self-destructive. My argument is that there is an ulterior motive behind this welfare, behind this mindless welfare. Both in Karnataka, earlier in Andhra Pradesh, now even Chandrababu is promising double up what Jagan Mohan Reddy has given. Don't think that Chandrababu Naidu is against the so-called welfare schemes of bleeding welfare schemes of Jagan. He has promised that he would give 10,000 instead of 5,000 for the the village volunteers. He had said that if Jagan had given 2,000 rupees, he would give 4,000 rupees as pension. So these will not just bleed the state economy, they will also affect the overall GDP of the country. There is, I don't remember the name of that two sociologists from the US. The name of one is the Packard and Pivot, if I remember correctly. These two people have suggested to the Democratic Party in the US that they should give welfare schemes in such abundance till the saturation, and this would actually give rise to discontent in the sections that are not benefited by this, and through this clash emerges a new system of welfareism. This was their theory, and I now see that theory being implemented in India in various states. In the name of farm loan waiver, in the name of power bill waiver, in the name of pensions, which appear quite necessary, but at the same time there is a competitive welfareism among various parties, and this will completely decimate not just the state economies, but also the overall objective of 5 trillion economy in the days to come. So this was suggested by, if I remember correct, two sociologists way back in the 50s or 60s, and that same system appears to be implemented in the state governments, particularly in Karnataka as well as Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Punjab, and all these states. Even Rajasthan during the Congress regime had promised a lot of welfare measures, and this would actually, there would be a competition between the political parties for giving bigger amounts as welfare schemes and doles, and this would financially cripple the system in the state and would ultimately affect the state government and create a financial anarchy in the state. And it's not just the political anarchy that is dangerous, even financial anarchy is a dangerous thing. And I suspect the welfare schemes in these states, they appear laudable and noble on the face of it, but have a very ulterior motive when it comes to destroying the country's national economy.
Next one, please. Magnet Ranga wants to know, Namaskaram. What do you expect will happen about all the corruption cases against Jagan? Do you feel by supporting NDA, the cases will be put in a washing machine? Is that his expectation?
Sir, has anyone been convicted in financial frauds, sir, in this country? Politicians, except for Madhukoda and Lalu Prasad Yadav, I don't see many politicians. Jayalalitha, of course, was convicted in some cases, but then that did not disqualify her politically. Not enough to disqualify her. So, proving financial frauds is a very dicey game, sir. Not just Jagan Mohan Reddy, any politician in the country. I think an innocent, from the tribal community, Madhukoda, perhaps did not know how to handle his monies, and he was exposed, and Lalu Prasad was too brazen. But otherwise, how many cases were proved against Jayalalitha? Not every case she was convicted. There were some cases she was acquitted also. So proving financial fraud cases is a difficult thing. Jagan was put behind the bars for 18 months, whereas the bail rules stipulate that one should be behind the bars as an under trial or as an accused for no more than 6 months. So in the case of he being convicted at some stage in his life, so these 18 months also would be included in the prison term. So I personally do not foresee any, and the kind of system that we have, the financial frauds, getting financial, fraudsters or scamsters convicted is a very dicey game. It's not the question of washing machines. It is a very clever word used by the Congress government. Congress has been the biggest washing machine all these years. That was the biggest washing machine all these years, and they are now saying that BJP is a washing machine. I have not seen cases being lifted on any person who has joined BJP. The cases are still there. They have not been lifted. They have not been granted any kind of what should I say, any kind of relief. For instance, I'll tell you the case of Sujana Chowdhury. Sujana Chowdhury is, he has been a bank defaulter. So the banks are now moving to, attach his properties. The case has not been lifted. The cases are still there. The ED case against him is still there. So it is wrong to say that once they join the BJP or they join the Congress, they will go through this washing machine and come out clean. This doesn't happen that way, because there is a strong legal process in this country. And Jagan was put behind the bars during the Congress regime. The case was supported by Chandrababu Naidu. Chandrababu Naidu, mind you, is one of the complainants against Jagan, and he was in power for all 5 years. And NDA was with him at that during his first stint of 2014 to 2019. He could not get Jagan behind the bars for even one day. So should I say that Chandrababu Naidu's party is a big laundry washing machine where Jagan Mohan Reddy could not be convicted? So this is a very specious kind of argument. I do not buy this argument because Chandrababu Naidu, NDA was in power. Chandrababu Naidu was in power in state. He could not touch Jagan Mohan Reddy for 5 years. How would you explain that? So, Magnet Ranga sir, I do not really think this whole argument that Jagan Mohan Reddy would be given some kind of leeway by the NDA government is wrong, because the bigger partner is TDP. It would press for his arrest. TDP, which has 17 seats or 18 seats, it has a greater say in the continuance of NDA government than Jagan's 4 or 5 MLAs. So by any stretch of logic, this is not a workable argument, sir.
Next one, please. Manoj Soma wants to know, I agree to you that Christianity is flattered and conversion is in less space. One question, why churches of the West are so silent on this, especially in France?
Well, this is beyond Andhra Pradesh, so my jurisdiction does not extend to France.
Yeah, I think, sorry, Manoj. Next one, please. Pradeep Tumati, thank you so much. Will TDP control, arrest Jagan and minions, or continue to complain that Modi is protecting him just like in 2019? Nothing seems to be happening so far.
It's only not even 1 month that the TDP has taken power, so don't expect hasty. Chandrababu would also not like to make hasty decisions, because he knows that merely arresting YS Jagan Mohan Reddy, he would score a brownie point, but beyond that, nothing extra. So if he wants to arrest, he has to move on cautiously, build up a strong case, and then arrest him. So otherwise, this whole plan will fall flat. So see, Jagan has got Chandrababu arrested for more than 50 days, particularly during the strategy planning time for the next elections. Still, Chandrababu managed to win. So many a times arrest prove counterproductive. We need to understand that, and unless a strong case is built against YS Jagan, there is no reason why he should be arrested, and there is no reason why Chandrababu should act in haste. I think he has to build a strong case first and marshal all the evidences. Then alone he should arrest them. Just arresting him just for the fun of it. I'll give you a classic example. Chaudhary Charan Singh was the Home Minister come Deputy Prime Minister during Morarji Desai's tenure. He was hell-bent on arresting Indira Gandhi. Morarji Desai and Vajpayee and all these leaders tried to dissuade him, but he did not. He thought that I should put Indira Gandhi behind the bars for at least 1 day. He got her arrested in the morning. By evening, she was out of the jail, and she, started garnering sympathy, and her comeback trail began after that. So these arrests should not be mere acts of vendetta. They should be backed by solid evidence and a sound case.
Next one, please. Thank you, Subaya Garu. And one more time, thank you. Sir, I think you did not visit both Amravati and Polavaram. Jagan government has stopped construction.
Yes. It does not take, you need not visit all those places. Amravati works have been halted completely. There was an outgrowth of bushes everywhere, and not a single brick was laid during the period of YS Jagan Mohan Reddy. I only hope that the work picks up pace under Chandrababu Naidu and something happens and we have a capital for Andhra Pradesh. And same way Polavaram. Polavaram also, the coffer dam was damaged, and there was this huge blame game between the TDP as well as the YSRCP, and works have not progressed, both in Polavaram and during YSR Jagan Mohan Reddy's regime of 5 years. Not a single road was repaired. It's not just Amravati and Polavaram, sir. Not a single road, not a single pothole was,
Repaired.
repaired. And I tell you my own example. We have wonderful roads in Telangana. The moment you cross the 𝗒𝙗𝙆𝙤𝙬 area and enter into Andhra Pradesh, your whole ride is bumpy ride. You will not travel like this. You will travel like this. I only hope Chandrababu Naidu will immediately undertake repairs to all these things and improve the roads. Jagan has not taken up a single infrastructure building project or a development project, let alone Amravati or Polavaram.
How true is it that the village volunteers are all belonging to one community, sir?
Not exactly. There are many from the Kamma community. There are many from the Kapu community. I think unofficially, allegiance to YSRCP was seen as one qualification for the selection of the village volunteers, but there is nothing official about it. The choice was made by the party aficionados, and they chose people who were favorable to them, but not one community. They are from all communities. I have seen Brahmin village volunteers. I have interacted with village volunteers who come from the Brahmin community. I have interacted with village volunteers who come from the Vaishya community, Kamma community. So let it be said that caste bias is not there. But then, of course,
Some of this has been
bias
hyped up.
was factored.
Yeah.
Sir, in any election, narrative is the most important thing, sir. In any election, most of the issues that crop up during the election, nobody talks immediately after coming to power.
Thank you so much, Raka Garu. That was a
changes.
Sorry, sir.
Sorry.
Please continue.
Sorry. No, look at the scrapping of the constitution that has been brought in as an electoral narrative by the Congress. Nobody talks about it now. Nobody talks about reservations now. The same way, most of these political narratives that one community, the other community, I can guarantee you that during Chandrababu Naidu's regime, one particular community would be targeted because that Chandrababu Naidu belongs to that community. So any appointment, people would say that he's a Kamma, he has been appointed by Chandrababu because of the Kamma factor. The same problem that goes for Y.S. Rajshekar Reddy will go for Chandrababu Naidu because they both represent two strong, politically dynamic and powerful political communities. So one would definitely veer towards the Reddy community, the other would invariably veer towards the Kamma community. 2014 to 2019 Chandrababu regime was singularly attacked for being pro-Kamma. So this is going to happen in Andhra Pradesh, sir. Not just one community, but both communities would be targeted. Both parties would be targeted. This is going to happen in Andhra Pradesh. We are treading into very dangerous times where caste affiliations or the caste associations of the political parties will become anything that Pawan does tomorrow will be viewed from the Kapu angle itself. So Andhra Pradesh is actually passing through very tough times, sir.
After Narasimha Rao, I don't think there was any Brahmin who became a chief minister. Maybe he was the only Brahmin. Maybe Prakasam was a Brahmin.
Prakasham Pantulu was a Brahmin, and of course, there were other Burgul Ramakrishna Rao Garu and all these people were Brahmins and
chief ministers.
Chief ministers. The domination of the Brahmin community has ended in the late 50s. By 60s, the other communities caught up and they became politically aware. Now, increasingly, more and more communities, smaller communities are becoming active now. For example, if you go to Rajamandri, the fight is not between the upper caste, it is between Turpu Kapus, Kopulavellamas, Kapus, and these communities that vie for power. Go to Anakapalli, there is one particular community which trades in jaggery, and that community dominates the politics there. So that way, a lot of N.T. Ramarao has, in the name of creating social awareness, he has brought in lot of political, lot of castes into the political radar, and this is only going to increase, sir.
Thank you so much, Raka Garu. See, this tells us that you can't really go far away from these equations. And from my childhood days, from the time I remember, it was the first Brahmananda Reddy, then Chenna Reddy, then Bhavanam Venkatram. There were so many other Reddys, Narayan Reddy, I think. I mean, so it has always been this or that, this or that, this or that. And I guess it's continuing. Maybe it's time for a Kapu to become Chief Minister. Maybe Pawan Kalyan is the truthful successor to Chandrababu Naidu. We'll see how it goes. Thank you so much, sir. Namaskar.